In 2023, help yourself to delicious, convenient recipes that support your healthy lifestyle and taste good too. Eat well in the new year without sacrificing taste. Go to greenchef.com/Blaire60 and use code Blaire60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. Link in the description. Hey guys, welcome back to a brand spanking new episode of The Blaire White Project. So I was so excited to film this episode. I was like, can I film now? Can I film now? Because I have some things to bitch about. The first, you may have seen this if you follow me or sort of like people in my general Twitter sphere genre of content, if you will. This disgusting woke gaming company called Limited Run Games, which, let me tell you something, these bitches definitely have a limited run in my mind, fired a woman, a lovely young woman who worked for them, who's also a streamer. I'll put her picture up here. Lovely young girl. Simply for the crime of following me and other people like Libs of TikTok, and it looks like Ian Miles Chong. So here's a tweet from Libs of TikTok who made me aware of this travesty. And, you know, this goes deep because once you see the type of person, the specific person that pressured this company to fire this lovely young lady, you're going to be as disgusted as I am. So Libs of TikTok tweeted, this company fired an employee after a trans activist pressured them to. It's always trans activists, right? It's always... The employee's crime was simply following me, Ian Miles Chong, and Blaire White on Twitter. I will never give this company a penny. Neither will I. So I replied to this tweet because this is totally someone that should be taken seriously. Good job, Limited Run Games, you absolute clowns. This is the trans activist that pressured this company to fire a woman, put her out of a job simply for following me. Not retweeting, even if she retweeted. Even if she tweeted every day at 3:37 p.m., I love and support every single thing Blaire White does. The fact that that's grounds for firing, it's like, ew. But this is the trans activist, Purple Tinker, founder of BronyCon. This is the person, and I use that word ever so lightly, that was able to get this young woman fired from her job. Now, of course, what I've learned, listen, there's a lot of like really, I feel useful things, useless in some ways, but useful in other ways, things that I have learned throughout the years of creating the type of demented content that I create, researching the type of demented things I research, and going against the type of demented people I go against. And I've learned that when it looks like a pedophile, not always, but a lot of the times it just is. And if you don't know, then you don't know. But if you know, you know. It's just a vibe, right? So I was like, wow, this Purple Tinker person literally looks like a chomo. Come to find out, they are. There are tweets from this Purple Tinker, founder of BronyCon, you freak, tweeting, teenagers aren't effing babies. The line between child and adult is very blurry. Teenagers deserve respect. Is it that blurry? I mean, for me, it's kind of like not, but okay. They follow up saying, part of respect is self-determination, not some holy adult saying this is what you want, even if you disagree. The existence of the term statutory rape, in quotations, as if it's some sort of figment of people's imagination, denies personhood and self-determination to a whole class of people. Of course, as fucking, what's his name? Cenk Uygur would say, of course, because duh, right? Listen, I'm not going to sit here and list out the qualities of a person that looks like a chomo, right? Because people are going to get mad. It's like, well, I have that. Okay, cool. You can look in this person's eyes and be like, this is a demon. This is a demented, like, freak. This is a person with no sense of morality, but will go on parading as if they do, right? So, you know, I just feel really bad for this young woman. I just followed her on Twitter because I actually found her Twitter. And I'm going to do and see what I can do to kind of help her out. And I don't want her to get her job back, frankly. Like, who would ever want to work for this disgusting company? Limited Run Games. screw you. Your run is most definitely limited. They've turned off all their comments because people are just really pissed about this. And it brings up the issue of, listen, there are protections against firing people for sexual orientation, gender, race. There is a discussion to be had about, considering we live in such a divisive time, in such a time of political turmoil, and in such a time where, you know, both sides fail to find any common ground whatsoever. There is a discussion to have, and I would love to see you guys having it in the comments about, should there be legal protections, I'm posing this question, for people to not be fired on the basis of the political party they're affiliated with. And I know it's a slippery slope. I know there's gray areas. I know that, okay, listen, what's a legitimate political identity? You know, there are literal Nazis, there are literal communists, and I don't, you know, no one wants those people working for them, right? Although for whatever reason, communists get a hell of a lot more of a pass than Nazis. Both are evil scum. I don't like the idea of living in a country where someone can be fired and lose their job, especially in this economy, girl, based on the political party that they're registered with. And that's even jumping the gun and saying that she was registered as a Republican or considers herself a conservative at all, because just because she followed me does not mean she was. There are plenty of people who follow me who are libs, right? There's libs of TikTok, there's libs of Blaire's following. The point is, it's disgusting. It's disgusting that limited run games bent the knee for a literal chomo, right? It's like, but the same thing I brought up with the Hunter Avalon thing in my last main channel video about how these people who, like, you know, virtue signal and try to like portray this like willingness to fight for the underdog, and but it's like most of the time they are projecting behaviors and character traits that they are guilty of themselves. Like I said, so in the video, Hunter Avalon talking about Blaire being transphobic. Meanwhile, the last time I saw him, he was in a hotel room calling Farron Meyer a man to her face, making her cry, and then he cried real tears because people dared to say that he was being a dick for that. That's projection. This person, Blue Tinker, was it Purple Tinker or Blue Tinker? Purple Tinker, probably periwinkle, which is a disgusting color. You know how there's like weird, okay, I don't know why my brain works like this, but when I hear the word periwinkle, I want to throw up. So Periwinkle Tinker, we'll call Zim that, is clearly posing as some righteous social justice warrior, and behind closed doors, and actually quite openly as of 2017, is literally at the very least, pedo sympathizer. So that's just how the cookie crumbles. The periwinkle cookie. Shout out to the girl that got fired. You deserve to work at any other company. Although, you know, I play games and I do game. Like I play StarCraft 2, I play Diablo 2, the remaster that came out recently. I play a lot of like classic games like on my N64 and on my Nintendo Wii. However, like I'm not super involved in like nerd culture and like gaming culture and like all these gaming creators and streamers. From what I understand, it's pretty lived out. From what I understand. But that's everything, right? Like everything's just so lived out. Like it's just a nightmare. So I don't know, girl. Maybe don't work in that industry. I don't know. Shout out to her. And shout out to people that are standing up for her, because it's definitely a big thing on Twitter right now. It was trending this morning. Actually, it's trending right now. I'm looking at it right now. So F limited run games, never getting a penny from me. Moving the F on to, oh, look, we have other Predator news. Because of course we do. James Charles. Hey, James. There's this time that James, like before all the like talking to underage boys thing came out, that James actually hit me up and wanted to be friends, because back in the day, all these like beauty gurus like Jeffrey and James, they always wanted to be in the ears of, you know, YouTubers who made videos about them, right? So like I think that it was in his very much best interest to have me in his back pocket. So he was like texting me like, we need to hang out, blah, blah, blah. Glad I never did. Okay, so James Charles has been caught again harassing a straight male. I don't know what it is. I've never seen anyone with James's level of commitment to being a sex pest I'm gonna call it that, right? Because molester, no. Rapist, no. Sex pest for sure. And it's such a thing, right? And there's this idea of like, for some reason, I don't know what it is about gay men and feminine men that lower people's defenses so that when this really like shitty, like male, gross sex pesty behavior, when it comes from gay males, people are like less likely to recognize it or something, but they're absolutely, capable of it as well. So James was caught in the GMs of another straight man, and it's just icky, icky, icky. So if you don't know, he's been caught with multiple underage boys. This one was not underage, thank God, but the behavior's so weird. And it's so funny. James actually liked the other day a tweet defending himself. That's not really a defense he thinks it is. He liked this tweet that says, okay, here's the thing. James has been predatory to young people in the past, but this is not an example of him doing something wrong this time. How do you like... James, how do you like a tweet basically agreeing with the tweet saying that you have been predatory with young people in the past? Not a good fucking look. Not a good fucking look. But let's get into the actual stuff that was exposed. So this tweet says, James is back at flirting and making straight men uncomfortable. The alleged screenshot revealed the benefits of being his boyfriend. In one text, James says it's really a lucrative role. James used Instagram's vanish mode to attempt to prevent a leak. Vanish mode don't work, girl. If you send anyone anything, they are going to screenshot. Anything I ever send, I'm going to assume is screenshotted. Period. Anyways, James Charles, this is the DMs. Really creepy, like, over and over. Like, I hate people. Anyways, it's a really lucrative role, he said. It's called My Boyfriend. Requirements: 6'2", must love escape rooms, horror movies, and cuddling. It's very basic. Big dick. Armpit hair. That's like really gross. Ew. And an occasional FaceTime call. Salary is $0, but it's a good job offer, I think. Perks include a cute boyfriend with a great personality and huge ass, free living in a $10 million house in LA, fun travel opportunities, good head, and more. James, I don't know what's ever going to get this through your head, but straight men are straight because they don't have sex with men. That's why they're straight. Like, there is really, and I've known a lot of gay men that are like this, but never to the extent of like a James Charles who's just like every 4 months in their DMs being creepy. A lot of gay men have a thing where like they want a straight man because that's something that's like hot for them, or because like they think straight men are hotter, more masculine, or whatever. But like at the end of the day, it's just not, the cookie's not going to crumble like that. It's just not going to happen. The video is creepy. Here's the video that James sent to the straight man, which is the most sex pesty part of this all.
So if I'm being like, oh my God, David, you're annoying, over text, right? You don't know if I'm saying like, oh my God, David, you're being annoying. Or like, oh my God, David, you're being annoying. Or like, oh my God, David, you're being fucking annoying. Because all three of those are completely different like emotions that you cannot see through text. You only get to actually experience those through a FaceTime call or through being in person. Even over the phone, you still miss out on things because you're missing somebody's facial expressions, right? So because you refuse to hang out with people or because you refuse to FaceTime, you're not allowing people to actually get to know you as like a human being. And that's a massive, massive problem whenever it comes to being in a relationship with somebody. You cannot fall in love with somebody simply just from text.
I can't believe how pathetic that was. Like just begging some straight guy to FaceTime him. That's the most embarrassing thing I've seen all 2020. I know we're only fucking a weekend, but still, that's like highly embarrassing. If you ever have to beg someone to FaceTime you, what's the name of that movie? She's Just Not Into You. He's just not that into you, specifically because you don't like cock. Let's just be real about that. James, you got to get it together, right? It's just every 4 months is James caught being inappropriate with a straight man, James caught talking to an underage boy. It's like weird. It's weird. And why do you sound like you're underwater permanently? Your voice sounds like it's underwater. And like this whole like panicked, like, you need to FaceTime me, you need to FaceTime me. It's like, chill. Just gross. And again, liking the tweet where someone's saying that he's predatory to young people, not really the defense you think it is. But moving on to something that's actually really tragic. somehow more tragic than James Charles' life, career, and story. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well with dinners that work for you, not the other way around. Green Chef has options for every lifestyle: keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, fast and fit, Mediterranean, gluten-free, all of it. As the only keto meal kit, Green Chef makes sticking to a carb-conscious lifestyle easy as pie. Green Chef sent me boxes of their food. I've actually been eating it for weeks. It's very clearly high quality food, and I'm definitely trying to be healthier in 2023. I want to get in the best shape of my life, and it's been a huge help. The food, like, you feel full afterwards, but you do not feel weighed down. It's very clearly like a lot of love put into the food, which is amazing. So get yourself the #1 meal kit for eating well at greenchef.com/Blaire60. Make sure you use code Blaire60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. Again, that is greenchef.com/Blaire60. Use code Blaire60 to get 60% off free shipping. And thank you to Green Chef for sponsoring this episode of The Blaire White Project. I'm gonna be serious now. This actually is a sad story. Mother can chemically castrate 7-year-old son after father loses court battle. So I've done a main channel video on this years ago when this court case was just gearing up. The James Younger case, if you don't remember, it is a situation where a mother and a father disagree about transitioning this 7-year-old child. At the time when it started, I think he was like 4 or 5. And the mom wants to transition the kid. The dad doesn't. Classic case, right? It's always the mom who's in a rush to sterilize the kid who's possibly gender nonconforming. But what's really disturbing about this case is, first of all, the dad lost. So they can proceed with transitioning the kid. Absolutely disgusting. Y'all know my position on that. I don't have to tell you my position on that. But this is a clip of him talking on Tucker a few days ago. And I think that the clip they show in the beginning really hits at home why this is so effing disturbing.
California has now declared itself a sanctuary state for adults who want to sexually mutilate their children in the name of gender ideology. One father in Texas called Jeff Younger now fears that his ex-wife is taking advantage of this deranged law that we will all be ashamed of a generation from now. She's just moved to California with their 9-year-old son. She is convinced that the boy is actually a girl.
You're a boy, right?
No, I'm a girl.
Who told you you're a girl?
Mommy.
Hi. Who told you you're a girl? Mommy. Right? So even if we play into this idea that a child as young as this can know they are transgender, wants to transition, even if that's the case, the last thing that should be coming out of their mouth as a response is, "Mom told me I'm a girl." Shouldn't it be, that's what I think, that's what I am, that's what my spirit tells me? Obviously, in the words that a child would say, no child's going to be like, in my spirit, this is how I feel. But the case is so disturbing, and the fact that the mom is traveling state lines, just in that big of a rush to sterilize her child, is disgusting. It reminds me of, if you ever have to like travel state lines to do something, it's probably something shady you're doing, right? It's probably something shameful you're doing, right? Like if you, like Onision traveling state lines to be with certain girls he wants to be with, it's like, I get it, but no. And I definitely don't get it with this, because it's like, I don't know why it's always the moms. And I can't imagine anything more tragic than how this dad must be feeling at this point. Like, knowing that he has lost the ability to stop his son from being castrated. That is, my God. I mean, what's worse than that? Like the kid actually dying, I guess. It's really the only thing worse, right? Very sad. Very sad. And, it's really, Tucker was absolutely correct in saying that this is something that we're going to be ashamed of in the not so distant future. All these states are already trying to reverse course. All these European countries that America once looked at and said, that's the way, are now completely reversing course. Let's continue watching this. But, if you're going to do it, you evil mother, guess you should do it now, because in a few years, you're not going to be able to do that and it's going to be very, very frowned upon.
When did she tell you you were a girl?
'Cause I love girls.
Oh, I see. So mommy told you you were a girl?
Uh-huh.
Does mommy do anything else like with a girl with you?
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Like dresses.
What does she do?
She do put them on me.
She puts dresses on you? Oh, wow.
How did this dad lose in court? And how was it a court in Texas where there should be a little bit more of a protection against this sort of thing happening? How did it happen in Texas? Absolutely shameful. There was no part, and I get that like a child's not going to be articulate fully, like, but that's exactly the point, right? A child cannot articulate their feelings, so why are you taking any of it as a reason to actually embark on some sort of medicalization of the child? It's absolutely disgusting. And they think the child just revealed all you need to know. The mom puts dresses on me. I like girls. That doesn't mean you're a girl. And I wish the dad would have said that. I know he's like in court, so I'm sure what he couldn't say during that is different. But it's like, my God.
That's just the saddest thing. That's a child. Well, Jeff Younger, the father of that boy, went to the Texas Supreme Court to try to protect his son. He wanted an order to prevent his ex-wife from having the boy sexually mutilated in the state of California. But the court rejected his petition in an 8-1 vote. Shocking. Jeff Younger joins us tonight. Mr. Younger, thank you very much for coming on. Boy, you watch that video and it just it hurts.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first iPhone video I ever took, and, you know, my blood ran cold when I realized what she had planned for that boy. And, you know, it escalated to eventually she registered him in school as a girl. I had to shut that down. So the Capel School District began to secretly transition my son. I'd bring my son to school in boys' clothes, and they'd give him a dress and make him use the girls' restroom. And it even escalated further where she began to present him to the world as a girl. I lived under temporary orders from a court where I wasn't.
You see these teachers? These disgusting, lived out teachers. How dare you? If you're a teacher and you have one parent saying my kid's a girl and one parent saying my kid's a boy, here's what you should do. Stay the F out of it. No one needs your help. No one needs you to do things secretly. No one needs you to hide things from either one of the parents. You disgusting people.
Even allowed to tell my son that he was a boy, where I had to present him to the world as a girl. And, you know, his twin brother got completely confused by all this. We wound up going to a 2019 trial where the courts gave me 50-50 custody and joint conservator rights to check her ability to transition my son. And the corrupt Democrat establishment in Dallas County transferred my case into the 301st District Court with Judge Mary Brown, and she never implemented the trial with a jury verdict, and as through temporary orders stripped me of all my parental rights and eventually allowed my ex to move to California right before, just a few days before the sanctuary law in California went into effect.
So it's so upsetting. I mean, we're talking about destroying a child's life. 9, you know, even last year, people who were in favor, who believed that you could.
Thank you, Tucker. Destroying a child's life is concrete. You know, there was a time when I would talk about kids transitioning and I wasn't as sort of hardline as I am now in terms of being against it. I was like, you know, there's certain scenarios in which maybe whatever. No, the science has progressed. We know more now. There are more studies. Children transitioning, in my opinion, despite the fact that there are some trans adults who transition as, you know, children who are happy, does not change the fact that it is wrong, period. Look at Jazz Jennings. She transitioned, puberty blockers, hormones, didn't have enough penis to get a vagina. Like, the science isn't even there for you to start transitioning kids at that young and for there to be no complications. Why are you removing a child's ability to ever orgasm as an adult in their life? Why are you removing a child's ability to have children for the rest of their life? I'm at the point where you are a monster if you support those things. That is my opinion of you. Actually, there's 2 options here. You are stupid or you're a monster. You can be both, I guess, but pick one, preferably. Like, you're stupid or you're a monster. You either don't know what the fuck you're supporting, which honestly 85% of people do fall in that camp. 85% of people are so stupid, they just think, oh, it's just like being gay, and they're getting PTSD from how gay people were treated in the 90s and before, in early 2000s, and they don't want to repeat that. Well, guess what? This is different. Gay people weren't undergoing chemical castration, although now they are, in the name of being trans. You know, someone tweeted me yesterday and was like, Blaire, with all these states outlawing children transitioning, I just don't know how you could support this anymore. This goes against your identity. Try not to swear. Spit on how stupid that comment is. When I started my transition, what was it? 8 years ago now? I did not sign up to be on board with mutilating children. I did not sign up to be on board with chemical castration of children. I did not sign up on board to not care what happens to kids. If that's part of what being trans is, guess who isn't trans then? Me. I don't care. What am I? Just a gender dysphoric person who had surgery? Cool. I don't care what the fuck you want to call it. But if the identity of transgender is supporting the sterilization of children, I am not transgender. If that's what it comes down to. If y'all want to claim it that much and y'all want to gatekeep that much, that being transgender means you have to support trans women in women's sports. You have to support children transitioning. You have to support the idea that people have to date trans people or they're transphobic. If those are the requirements, guess who isn't transgender? I'll be a man, I'll be a woman, I'll be a gender fuck, I'll be anything else other than transgender if that's a requirement. It's just so sad. And I really feel bad for this kid. I really feel bad for this dad. You can see just how sad he is. Ugh.
Change sexes by active will. Even they would concede 9 was too young. Now we're just completely off the rails.
Yes.
Did any adult in authority step up to help you and protect this 9-year-old boy?
No. She started transitioning when he was 2. She tried to enroll him into...
Wow. 2? I didn't know that. 2, this disgusting mother, this pitiful excuse for a mother, scum, signing your kid up for lifelong medicalization at 2. Not saying they started the medical process at 2. Here's where all the libs come in and say, no one else transitions at 2. No, but the mother clearly decided what path the kid was going on at 2. That's the point. Don't pretend like you don't understand people when they talk about this shit. No one thinks you're taking hormones at 2. No one thinks that. No one's arguing that. No one thinks you take hormones at 6. But it's clear the mother decided the kid's path at 2.
At a gender clinic when he was 5, the Genesis Clinic in Dallas, Texas. The pediatrician's records show that she intended to chemically castrate him at age 8 or 9, his current age, and then he magically moves to California. You know, I don't think this is an accident. Absolutely no one in the state of Texas has stood up for me except for Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General. I went to the legislature on 2 sessions, and by some quantitative measures, I generated more political power for a bill against transgender child abuse than for any bill in Texas history. Some offices were recording 300 lobbyists a day on my bills. We could not get that bill passed because the Speaker of the House, Dade Phelan, blocked those bills from passage. So the legislature did nothing. The governor did not mobilize the agencies to protect Texas children from these abusive procedures, sterilization and chemical castration. Did nothing. I could not get the executive branch to move. I thought I would get relief in the appellate courts, in the judicial branch, and I go up to the Texas Supreme Court, and they determine absurdly that my wife is no more likely to transition my son in California under the sanctuary laws than she would in Texas. And absurdly, not
No more likely to transition the kid in a state where it's legal versus illegal, right? What a joke. What a joke.
not even really reading Senate Bill 107, claims that we can enforce an injunction against her in California when a plain reading of the bill says that they will not enforce these injunctions, they will not obey subpoenas, they will not obey extradition, and they will not return the children to me under any circumstances.
At some point, all of these children will be adults, and they're going to look at us, the adults who should have been protecting them.
They will.
With rage, yeah. But not you. You've done your best, and our heart goes out to you, for real. And you're
so sad, and the saddest part is all you can say to him is sorry. Sorry. So here's the moral of the story. Be careful what bitch you get pregnant. Be careful who the fuck you get pregnant. Be careful who you lay down with. Because 2 years into that baby's life, you don't know if they're going to put on a pair of rainbow glasses and say, oh my God, my kid wants to be a girl. Disgusting. So sorry to this father. And I'm so sorry that all you can say is, I'm so sorry. Like, what? But, see, that was the black pill, and here's the white pill. 11 states moved to criminalize child sex change treatments under newly proposed laws. 2023, we're going in with this shit. 2023 is the year that I think the ship starts reversing course. It might still hit the iceberg. In fact, it already has hit the iceberg, but we're trying to get people out of the lifeboats. 11 states, which is really great. Let me see if they list these states here. Kansas, Kentucky, Missouri, Montana, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and Virginia. Thank God for those states. And that's the thing, right? Like, I had replied to a Gays Against Groomers tweet where they were celebrating this and being like, this is such a good thing. We're actually gaining momentum. This movement to protect, children is gaining movement. And I replied with like a party emoji or whatever. And that's when the person tweeted and was like, how could you support this? You really think they're going to stop there? They're clearly going to go after adults transitioning. First of all, I don't live in hypotheticals, right? Because all I've heard my entire career of talking about these issues is that I was going to get kicked out of every bathroom and soon I wasn't going to be able to pee in bathrooms. That never fucking happened. All I heard was Donald Trump was going to like put trans people in camps. That never happened. So this emotional blackmail that you freaks do to try to justify harming children, not going to work. And frankly, I don't care how radical I sound on this. I do not support any bans on adults transitioning. I think that if you're an adult and you vote in this country and you can go to serve your country, you should do whatever the F you want with your body. And I stand on that. However, I'm also not going to pretend like any sort of protections for adults should come before protections for children. A healthy society has priorities. Priority number one is children. Adults come second. So sorry if I'm not super concerned with these hypothetical laws against trans adults that people are screaming are going to start happening. And honestly, is a community that supports this almost completely even really undeserving of any sort of backlash at all? If that's what it takes to get the pendulum back in the middle and to have kids not having their lives ruined, I'm not going to shed a fucking tear. I'm not placing anything to do with adults before kids. Sorry. That's called being sane. That's called being a decent person. Learn how to do it. And even so, it's effing hypothetical. How could you be against transitioning children because then they're going to ban trans adults? And then I'm in a camp, and then my head's against a wall, and then what? And then. Who cares? There's clearly a focus here, and the fact that you try to keep taking focus off of it, that's your problem. That's no one else's problem. And that emotional blackmail works on the parents that you tell that their kids are going to unalive themselves if they don't transition. It doesn't work on me. I'm grown. And I'm not gullible. I'm going off in this episode, right? I don't know. I just feel like I'm just so over it. Like, if there was ever a time where I could see anyone's argument for doing this to kids, or that time is like come and gone. Like it's not there. It's not there. All right. Here's a funny one. The fatties are at it again, girl. Twitter erupts over claim the word obese is a slur used to dehumanize and harass us. So this is the tweet that went viral. The term obese is a slur because it is used to dehumanize us and harass us. It's not because our feelings are hurt by an accurate description. It is an outdated term that does more harm than good. And as such, it should be eradicated. That's it. Now, gotta love Elon Musk's Twitter because a tweet like this would have never been fact-checked before. But it's a new day for Miss Twitter. So Twitter came through with a fact check. saying obese is a technical term. According to the World Health Organization, overweight and obesity are defined as abnormal or excessive fat accumulation that presents a risk to health. So yeah, it's a medical term, and claiming that it's like meant to harass you, no one cares so much about you. It's not that deep. It's really not that deep. I mean, here's the thing. I've like thought a lot about the fat positivity movement and all that shit, and I don't get mad at them. I actually just feel really bad for them, because I know in some ways what it's like to be unhappy with your body. Obviously, trans is very different, you know, but in a lot of ways, working to change your body to something that you feel comfortable with is something I do relate to, right? Let's say it like that. And it is hell to be in a body that you feel like isn't what you want to show to the world, isn't how you want to walk the world, isn't who you want to be. And so I think that this is massive cope, no pun, but it's big cope. You know what I'm saying? Because I genuinely don't believe that anyone who is obese is happy about being obese. I guess some fetishists maybe, but it's like there's no way you physically feel great. And so when people jump onto this movement, I do feel like it's, you know, cope. Here's another tweet. The term obese is a slur, violent, dehumanizing, and it's anti-Black. Excuse me? Girl, how is it anti-Black? Like, we're not even gonna, we're gonna start with the anti-Black part. Is how do you think being obese is like an inherently Black thing? Because that's a little, I would assume, insulting. Pretty sure anyone can be obese except Asians. You know, I've never really seen an obese Asian. I know they exist, but there's no way they're as common as people of other races. Go figure, they eat differently, right? They're not eating like white people, like Cheetos in Arizona's every day, or like Black people, whatever Black people eat that's bad, right? It's just like they don't do that. Like the stuff that Asians eat is healthy for the most part. So anti-Black, to say that as if it's inherently a Black thing being obese, and then violent. Tell me you've never been slapped without telling me you've never been slapped. This is what, when people talk about violence and silence is violence and this is violence and that's violence. Tell me you've never actually experienced violence, because that's what you're saying. Maybe you need to get slapped. I don't know. Because I'm pretty sure. The thing is, like, I've had my shit rocked. So, like, I would never call something violence that isn't. Like, I've been punched in the face. So, like, I know what is and what isn't. Anyway, I just feel bad for these ladies. They're always ladies, by the way. Men never seem to hop on this bandwagon. At least straight men. So, here's a doozy. Twitter was pressured by Pfizer to suppress posts questioning COVID vax efficacy in the new Twitter files. And of course, you know, people in the States like to point at places like Miss China, Miss North Korea, Miss Ghana, you know, these countries that are flooded with propaganda, that, you know, oppress people via information, that don't allow people on certain websites to use certain social media apps, and, you know, and that have a narrative of propaganda that is antithetical to reality. Are we going to keep pretending like America's not that? Because that's what it is. I saw someone on Instagram posting like a link to this article, and it was like, China caught banning users on social media for spreading COVID misinformation. And my knee-jerk thing was like, yeah, it's China, ew. And then I was like, that's exactly what has happened and is happening and continues to happen here. I don't know why I'm laughing, because it's actually a crime against humanity. On the list of people that were being censored by Pfizer, Tommy Lahren, there's a thing about her having her tweets, you know, targeted by Pfizer. And it's like, where are all the anti-corporation liberals at? Why should Pfizer be able to censor what is said and happens in the public square? A corporation. Where's all the anti-big pharma liberal? Where are you? And by the way, I saw a tweet from Mike Cernovich first of all, I love Mike Cernovich. He be tweeting stuff that I'm just like, yes. And he's very elevated in my mind. Like, a lot of stuff he says is like, it's not just typical like right-wing bullshit. He said that something along the lines of, kind of interesting how anyone can call themselves anti-big pharma while giving their kids Ritalin. Ding, ding, ding. Not to say there's no children who need medication for issues, right? But if you're denying that there is not an over-medicalization of children in this country, whether it's antidepressants, whether it's puberty blockers, whether it's, popping this pill because the kid's sad, it's like, that's a huge thing in this country. And, the idea that a corporation gets to, again, censor what is said and what isn't said based on their own financial gain. Like maybe this is it. Maybe people in their minds think that Pfizer is full of like angels who swooped in to save the world from this just crazy, crazy virus. They're full of money hungry corporate animals like any other corporation. They will go to whatever lengths to sell their products. And if you think that that's anything but true, I don't know what world you're living in. I would like to maybe visit that world. It would sometimes be nice to believe that corporations and the people above you have the best of intentions, but they don't. They don't. Very sad that we have a culture that worships medicine in the way that it does right now. Speaking of, here's another story corresponding with that. CBS News. Children struggling with obesity should be evaluated and treated early and aggressively, including with medications for kids as young as 12 and surgery for those as young as 13, according to new guidelines released Monday. I would like to know why the health experts never actually give any advice about health. You would think that in extreme cases, perhaps a weight loss surgery would be appropriate for a child. I mean, granted, that should be very rare. And we're talking like if they are obese, right? But the fact that exercise and healthy eating doesn't even come into play, isn't even mentioned. It's literally just about, go figure, drugs and surgery, things that bring them money. Do you think scientists can't be bought out? Do you think scientists can't be purchased? Just like politicians can be purchased? Do you think that there's no one who stands to gain by giving the advice that these kids should be, oh, maybe you should be on this pill. Maybe you should do this surgery that costs tens of thousands of dollars. It's just crazy how gullible people are. Like, I can't. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I'm not saying that there are no cases where an extremely obese child should probably be placed on some sort of medication to aid the weight loss efforts in conjunction with healthy eating and exercise. But the fact that healthy eating and exercise doesn't even come up on the list, it's almost like healthy eating and exercise doesn't give them money. Very sad. Whenever I see like obese children, I really feel bad for them, right? They're almost always with obese parents as well. And I just feel like, man, if you can't keep your kid safe and healthy, you probably shouldn't be a parent. I mean, an obese child, I'm not talking about chunky. I'm talking obese. Get it together. Please, because no one's going to get it together for you. I want that to be my new little tagline. Get it together because no one's going to get it together for you. The child certainly isn't. They're a child. Anyways, on to dun dun dun, the best segment of the podcast. We saved it for last this time because why the F not? Reacting to woke TikToks. This one is going to be a sort of variety, right? Usually we theme them. This one's a variety. So let's just jump into it. This is a young woman, Zer, Astro Fairy, who says that queerness is supposed to be radical. Let's listen.
I will no longer call a person queer if I don't see them participating in queer politic. You're gay. Sure, you're gay. That is not the same as queer.
Thank you for saying the quiet part out loud, because I have said for so long there's a difference between being gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and politically being gay, bisexual, lesbian, transgender. There are absolutely people who identify as these things for political purposes. And these are the rodents. These are the vermin that have ruined the community, that have ruined the perception of the community among the general public. That you have these people who attribute a political position to something that they claim you're born. How are you going to claim you're born with it? Which I do believe gay people are born gay. I do believe that trans people are born with probably gender dysphoria, although who knows? It's one of those things, right? Because it's weird. It's like, you know, I started experiencing gender dysphoria at like 5, and that's like the earliest age you kind of have memories. So like, I don't know if it's like I was born with it or I got it at 5. Like, I don't know. I forget what I was saying. Let's keep watching.
If you haven't put a mask on in a week, not queer. You're just...
Did she say a mask? Really? She just attributed wearing a fucking COVID mask to being queer. Thank you for saying the other part out loud, which is the mask is the left's version of the MAGA hat. That's just facts. Anyone still wearing a mask, I'm going to assume you're a lib. Like I just am. Like, I know there's immunocompromised people. I know that's a thing. But for the most part, they're just going to be a lib. And that's their version of walking into a store with a MAGA hat. And they're feeling brave about it. And they're feeling countercultural about it. And they're feeling like, I got to go rile people up at the store by showing I'm still wearing a mask in 2023. You're gross. There was a girl doing cardio next to me wearing a mask the other day. And she's on the Stairmaster, which is very difficult. The Stairmaster is not the treadmill where you're walking 2 miles an hour. Stairmaster is like heavy cardio, like you are sweating, and she's wearing a mask. I'm like, at that point, just get a home gym if you're immunocompromised. But she wasn't. Obviously, she was just a lib.
Not queer. You're not. Queerness is supposed to be radical. It's supposed to be about supporting each other, helping each other, and making sure that we like lift up from the most vulnerable of our community. A lot of you gays are not acting like queers right now. So I'm not going to call you queer.
Tell me you have daddy issues without telling me you have daddy issues. I've never seen... This person should be in the Urban Dictionary entry of daddy issues. This person's entire existence was rebelling against their conservative dad. You just know it. This person probably grew up in... What's like a conservative town in like Texas? Like, oh my God. I don't know. Oh, I went to a town in Texas called College Station. And on the way in, there was a billboard saying something about queers, like in a negative way, like demented, pervert, queer. So that's a pretty right-wing town. This person probably grew up in College Station, Texas, had daddy issues with their conservative dad their whole life, moved to Austin, Texas, and is now like fighting the good lib fight. It's just so embarrassing. It's like, first of all, thank you for not calling LGBT people queer, because that's a disgusting word, and I'll always stand by that. I've shed blood over the word queer. I've had my ass beat behind the word queer. You're not gonna call me queer. You're not gonna ask me my pronouns. You're not gonna call me queer. F you. Anyways, here's another witch.
Hi, my name is Sarah. My pronouns are she, her, they, and them. What are your pronouns? See?
Why do they always talk like children or like developmentally stunted people? Spoiler alert, I'm doing a video on trans age on my main channel this Sunday, so tune into that. However, this is giving very that, like, why are you talking like this? It's weird that the like infantilization of pronouns and like gender stuff they always do. Like, these people talk like kids. Their vibe is always very childlike. And I get that they're slow and they may have stopped developing at some point in their childhood, but I don't like the vibes. It's feeling haunted. It's feeling like the movie Megan. Just watched it last night. It's giving my last moments on earth with this woman in my face.
See? Do you see how easy that is, people? All you have to do is ask somebody what their pronouns are, and then, I don't know, just respect it. It is really not that hard of a concept. And for all those people out there making it like a big, huge deal, you look like an idiot. It's really not. It's called respect, right? Respect. So let's try this again. Hi, my name is Sarah. My pronouns are she, her, they, them. What are your pronouns? Let's be friends.
Always condescending, always in the role of a teacher as if they have information to impart on anyone. In the terms of like, these people make these TikToks and they always feel like they're educating people, like, listen to me and I'm gonna be condescending the whole time and here's why you're stupid and here's why you're a bigot. Just chill out, Sarah. And dye your hair. Your grades are coming in. I can't. I would also bet a 99% chance this woman's straight. This crazy psychotic hoe with the rainbow eyeshadow, I would bet any amount of money is straight. Psychotic. Demented. All right. This person doesn't fully identify as a human and identifies as part dog.
Hi, my name is Samuel, and I am a canine Therian. But what does this mean? A Therian is somebody who identifies as wholly or partially non-human, specifically as a non-human animal from this earth. Now, there are other forms of non-humans, and a person could identify as being non-human for a plethora of psychological or spiritual reasons. For me, I'm not sure which it is.
It's psychological, baby. I'll let you know now. It's the psychological part. If you're questioning it, it's the psychological part.
I used to be certain that it was purely psychological due to neurodivergency. However, as I started to delve into my spirituality, I started to question if it was maybe a past life that affects my ultra humanity. Either way, I feel a disconnect from other humans and to the part of my brain and soul that feels human. Instead, I feel like a dog or a wolf, which I know is extraordinarily common.
You know, I'm not even hating on this canine. I just have to say, the idea that this is supposed to be some sort of like adjacent identity to what I am is pretty effing insulting. I feel bad for, you know, Skip here, but keep that shit private maybe. Like sometimes people be talking too much. Like, I don't know, if I was like, oh my God, I feel like a dog, you know how much it would take for me to put that on my phone and post it to the world? That's like the kind of thing you think of when you're like high. It's like, you know what? It's like, maybe I could be like a dog in my spirit. It's like, keep it to yourself, baby. Please. TMI, mama.
Quick little pronoun update. So after a several days long gender crisis, I am pretty certain I use they, they, he pronouns. And yeah, I just want to let you know I am still trans femme. I am still on HRT. I am not detransitioning or anything. Just my gender is a complete nightmare. I don't know what's going on with it right now. All I know is that these pronouns feel right to me. I don't really understand why. And the he makes me dysphoric if, like, a cis person uses it for me or a person who doesn't really understand what my gender.
Can we just talk about how, like, if this person who appears to be like, what, 18, 19, 20 is capable of having this gender crisis where they're switching their pronouns up midway through life, if they're doing this and confused and have no idea, it's a gender nightmare, as they say, then how the fuck is a 12-year-old supposed to know definitively? If anyone is just capable of going through this gender crisis at 18, 19, 20 to where you're like, I'm face self pronouns and then he and then they and then it, how can anyone have confidence that a 12-year-old can decide that? Like, it's just, I feel bad for this person. This person is clearly going through it. This person needs help. This person needs someone to be like, listen, not everything you feel is valid. Not everything you feel is valid. If you're going into the face-off territory, it's actually not valid. And that's okay. We can figure out why you're having these thoughts that aren't valid. We can figure out why you're going through this, but we're going to work on it together. This person needs compassion and someone to be like, not enabling them. But of course, you're on TikTok where it's going to be an aggregate of comments that are like, okay, Faye. Okay, dog self. Oh, you want to be a dog? Okay, dog. Demented. I just can't. Here's the last one.
Hey TikTok, I need your help with something. And it's really important to me, and it's going to be a big deal.
I can smell this.
I'm coming out at work as trans to everyone, including all my students who...
Of course, it's a teacher. Why do you think kids want to know your gender or sexual identity? Can you explain that?
I've known some of them for a couple of years now.
Ew.
But I'm going to be honest, I don't know how I'm going to address their question. I'm not good at this stuff. I'm going to ask them to start calling me Miss Ella and to use the proper pronouns. But knowing kids, especially elementary school age kids, they're going to ask questions, and I want to make sure I have answers, or the correct answers, the best answers.
Kids are not entitled to answers for every question they have. As an adult, you should have the capacity to understand what's an appropriate question and what's an inappropriate question. If the kids are asking you about your gender identity, your private parts, what being trans mean, what you used to be and what you are now, here's how you answer. That's a conversation for your parents. That's an adult conversation. That's not the kind of conversation we have here. Imagine how simple, right? But of course, these people, they're not trying to keep it simple. They're trying to be narcissists, and they really think that children care about their gender identity and what's in their pants. Disgusting.
Answers. Some sort of answers. So if you have any resources on it or anything, please let me know. If you've done it, if you have anything, I'm looking for advice. Comment, stitch, whatever it is. Just let...
They always talk like children, and they have this like fake... performative, panicked, like, oh, I just have questions that I want to ask, and I want to talk to the kids about me being a tranny, and oh my God, I'm so cute and quirky and panicked. Grow up. You have a mustache. This means you're grown. I'm not even trying to say, oh, you're a man. If you want to be a woman, good luck. You have a mustache, this means you're grown. So stop this, I'm just so panicked talking to TikTok. Calm down. And stop talking to kids about your privates. Anyways, that is it for this video, you guys. I had fun with this one. I'm in a really weird mood. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next podcast episode. Make sure you subscribe to this channel as well as my main channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And also, please, please, please give me ratings on Spotify. It helps me out so much more than I could ever tell you. See you next time. Bye, guys.